Hi, I'm Matt with etrailer, and today we're going to be talking about the Rhino-Rack Vortex Aero roof rack system on the 2023 Toyota Highlander. Now this is going to be a great option if you're kind of running out of space in the back of your vehicle and you need to put some additional accessories up top to kind of store some extra luggage. It's also going to be great if you're going out camping and you need to put your additional camping gear up top as well. Our roof rack system is going to have three components. The first one's going to be our 49-inch Aero crossbars. That's going to plug into our Rhino-Rack Towers, and that's going to sit onto our base. This is going to have the capacity to hold up to 165 pounds, but I'd always recommend checking what your vehicle can withstand for its roof as well. And taking a closer look at that crossbar, it's going to be in the shape of an arrow, so it's going to be tapered on both ends to reduce wind noise. We're also going to have this vortex strip up top that kind of peels off and then can be trimmed. And we're going to have one on the bottom as well that has a measuring strip on it. Now in our case today, we don't have a measuring strip on the bottom. Since we keep this one in the shop, we use it a lot, so we've just taken it off. Something to note, we can clamp accessories on here, but if you don't want to clamp anything on, you can actually peel this vortex strip off and place your accessories on this T-track up here. And at the end of our crossbar, we're going to have this spot here, and that's going to be a lock. So no one can come by and kind of take off any accessories you have up here. But you can actually get this switched out and put a metal lock core that kind of matches the one down here. So it's key to like. We can actually just remove that with our key here. Just kind of matching what it says here with the unlock symbol, and to take it off real easy. That's going to reveal this bolt that plugs into our base. That base is just going to sit here, so everything's one unit. What I do like about these bases are the way they sit on our rails. They be very flush and fit very nice. And even the back one kind of raises up a little bit differently, just so our crossbars are level. Now they are going to be fixed at about 32 inches. So that is one of the downsides with it being fixed, that it's only going to be able to accommodate certain types of gears. But on the plus side, since they are fixed, they're going to be a lot easier to install. As for how it's going to sit on the top of your Highlander, we're going to get maybe just a little bit of overhang on the sides, so it sits very flush with our vehicle. If you like the low profile look of it, this is a pretty good fit for the Highlander. For how far it's going to sit up from the top of your roof, from the bottom of the crossbar to the top of the roof is going to be about 2.5 inches. So that's pretty close to your roof, but definitely still enough room to get a clamped accessory on there. And from the top of your roof to the top of the crossbar, it's going to be about 4 inches. So that's something to factor in when you're adding gear to the top of your system. Just adding that 4 inches plus the height of your vehicle plus the height of the gear to the system. So if you want to keep these on your roof for an extended period of time, they're going to be able to stand up to the test of time since they are made of durable aluminum with a black powder coat finish. So that's just going to help them stand up to weather conditions and less prone to rusting. And actually where they sit now is great because if you want to leave them up all season long, they're not going to really interfere with your sunroof. So they're going to be far enough back where they sit in a very nice location. As for the installation process, I thought it was pretty straightforward, especially with it being on fixed points. It makes it a lot easier. Really my biggest issue with it was just trying to tighten the crossbar down to the tower. It can be kind of difficult to reach underneath here and line everything up. We found a couple workarounds around that, and if you're kind of getting snagged up on that too, just stick around and we'll show you how to do it. The first thing you're going to want to do is lay everything out. So we're going to have our 49-inch crossbar, we're going to have our bases, and over here we're going to have our towers, the hardware that goes with them, and we're going to have our included tools right over here, and 2 additional keys, and a tool for your crossbar. And what I recommend bringing as well, we're going to recommend using a screwdriver, a 10 millimeter socket and wrench, a tape measure, and some trim tools. And next up, we're going to move on to putting our bases on our roof. Before we can put our bases up there, we're going to have to remove this piece that attaches to your rail. And instead of using a screwdriver with some tape on the end, we're going to tape our rails so we don't damage it. We find it a little bit more helpful in this way rather than the screwdriver method. So I'm going to just take my trim tool and I'm going to stick it underneath that piece that sits there. And I'm going to try to push against these tabs and push up. Should start to kind of pry a little bit. And once I get one side up, I like to kind of move over to the other side. Push that a little bit more up too. And come back and finish the job. Just like that. You're going to notice we only have 2 bases down here. And that's just because we've already installed the back crossbar. And now we're going to have our front right and our front left. We're going to start by installing our front right now. To get that base up there, I'm just going to make sure this hole here is lined up with this one here. And I'm just going to set it down. You're going to notice we're going to have the fatter side on the outside and the thinner side on the inside. Next up, I'm going to take this bolt here, made for an Allen key, and just kind of set it in there. Just hand thread it a little bit, make sure it's lined up right. And now just take our included tool and tighten it down the rest of the way. And after, when you've completed this on this side, you can do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to come over to our crossbar, and I'm going to flip it over so the bottom's facing up. And I'm going to use the included tool that's specifically for our crossbar to remove the end cap. All you have to do is turn and twist and pull it off. And now I'm going to just take our towers, making sure that middle block is facing down. And I'm just going to slide it through our channel at the bottom. Just push it down some. And I'll put our end cap on real quick. Just going to grab our included tool and tighten it down just somewhat, just enough where you can move it some, but it's not going to slide around very easy. Like that. And just do the same thing on the other side. Once everything's secured on here, you can lift it up and put it on your roof. You might need an extra pair of hands if you can't reach up that high. But once you get it up there, you just got to line up the back one so it fits into those tabs. Just like that, and you can let the other side drop. And you might have to adjust it some. That's part of the reason why we didn't tighten it all the way. But once you have it where you need it to be, then you can tighten it down the rest of the way. To tighten it down the rest of the way, we can use our tool and just kind of come over underneath here and try to line it up. I find this a little bit difficult to try to do just because it's kind of hard to find that hole and line everything up. So what I like to do is actually just remove our crossbars, and since they've been tightened earlier not to slide around, we can actually do it on a flat surface, on a table, and just tighten them down that way. And when you have it tightened enough, you can repeat the same process on the other side. Once everything's nice and tight and it's not going to move around, we can lay it back up there and fit it back into its spot. Just like so. And now we can tighten our towers to our bases. And to do that, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is take your included key and use it to take off your end cap, just like so. You can put this off to the side. And taking your bolts and washers, you can kind of just thread this through this hole here. What I like to do a lot of times too is put the bolt through beforehand, just to make sure there's nothing in the threads, like some of the black powder coat that can make it kind of harder to thread in. And once I've got it tightened down enough, I can use a socket and wrench just to tighten it down the rest of the way. And once it's about tight enough for you, then you can put the end cap back on and repeat the process on the other side. Once everything's nice and tight and secure, just do a quick kind of shake test, make sure everything does fit right. And after that, you should be ready to hit the road. Overall, I think this is a great option for the Highlander. I think if it's really low profile and it sits pretty flush with our vehicle. And it makes for a pretty easy install. Now, there is a few kind of like spots where it's a little bit difficult to maneuver, especially trying to get underneath here and tighten that crossbar to your tower. But overall, I still really think this is a great fit for the Highlander. But if you've liked everything you've seen today, that was just a look at the Rhino Rack Roof Rack system on the 2023 Toyota Highlander.